Hi, and welcome back once again. I am Ryan Keys, author and podcaster. If you haven't checked out my podcast, what's wrong with you? Go to anchor.fm/InDeepShift or go to Spotify and type in In Deep Shift. It is a show that will help you shift your reality right now. And then if you haven't checked out my book, please go to Amazon. It is Putting the Soul Back in Soulmates. And I understand, maybe you're not single, maybe you have somebody, but just because you said I do doesn't mean you stop dating. That's where you get a divorce. So you don't want to do that. If you enjoy the content that I provide, I do lives all week. Click subscribe and the bell beside it so you get a notification so you know when I'm going to go online. Because sometimes I actually don't. I just get moved by spirit. My guides get online and they say, hey, you go online, and I just listen, I obey, and I show up and I bring the information. That's why it's important to click the bell. Also, share to your social media, smash that like button and leave a comment down below. If you want to go deeper, if you want to go into more content and you want to actually have conversations with a group of people that are great, go to Patreon, all those links down below as well. The direction of the channel that I'm taking now, in accordance to my podcast, I'm delivering information and tools that can be replicated and reproduced right now by you. Because really, reality begins right now. And what good is it if I give you just theories and practices and information that just sounds great? I really need to trigger your curiosity and to create this conduit so that you will understand how to repeat whatever we're talking about. And today we're going to talk about emotions. Emotions, that's tough. I mean, it's a touchy subject, literally. And I'm going to dive into some interesting ideas about emotions, and I'm excited about it. If you want to come further, I'll see you inside. Okay, so like what I was saying in the intro, I'm going down a little bit of a different road. I'm trying to create a channel that's going to not only stir your curiosity, but awaken your consciousness and help to create a conduit so that you can replicate whatever it is that we're doing, either through mantra, through meditation, through visualization, through exercises, through mirror work, the things that actually make a difference right now in your life. Because I want you to create a new reality right now. Not wait for the future, not try to get rid of the past. We need a reality right now that really feels sturdy and strong and grounded. Root chakra right now. So in the course of emotions, there is a quote by C. Terry Warner, and it goes a little bit like this. Honest self-understanding, think about that. Honest self-understanding liberates us from our stuck emotions. So honest self-understanding liberates us from our stuck emotions. So self-understanding, self-awareness liberates you or liberates me from feeling stuck in a state of being that makes me feel suppressed, insignificant, overwhelmed, underpowered at times, or perhaps too on fire. Maybe when that person calls you and you feel, wait, oh no, this is getting too serious, too fast. Some of those emotions aren't really happening right now. An emotion is a very interesting thing. And I feel this is where some of the people that have talked about archons and other things, entities, emotions have the ability to take on a life and to transform energy that is provided by us into almost an evidential reality. They create this conduit that has feeling, that has function, that has energy and action. It can be like that little parrot on your shoulder that's like, wow, that's going to be so painful. Don't do that. And it can, I call it like the Pinocchio syndrome. It lies to you. It lies about some of the things that you could be looking at right now. Because it's blurring your real vision. You're looking at it through the eyes that are filtered from the past. And one of the first keys to understanding some of the things that go on with emotions, I feel, is to identify, like what I talked about in the intuitive reading, double standards. A double standard is not just something that, like, do as I say, not as I do. It's some of the things that we tell ourselves. For instance, I really want to be happy. However, I hold on to things that create a conduit to unhappiness. Now, imagine unhappiness or imagine fear as just some person that's sitting next to you. When you think about unhappiness and you give it a personality, you give it an ability to talk to you, you give it a taste, an idea, a texture, and you realize that it really actually is. So right now you're listening to me, but who is listening to me? You're aware of listening to me. So that means you're not only here listening and experiencing it, there's a piece of you that is beyond that, that is aware that you're doing that. And then there's another portion of that that's even aware of me asking you to become aware. So awareness is a very powerful tool for observation. Awareness is a very uniform way to literally feel through feelings, to give you the functional aspect that you really will find security and confidence in when it comes to an emotion. To be emotionally out of control never is going to evolve into an enjoyable experience, no matter what. I'm reminded by many people that I've coached on the twin flame topic. And I go to this topic because there's a really a deep set of emotional triggers that surface, this running and chasing mechanism. And I'm reminded of greyhounds running around a track chasing a rabbit. And I think to myself, is the running and chasing really a sign? And is it a sign of emotional hurt and trauma that is trying to find something to fixate on so that it gets energy because it's starving and it wants you to face it. It wants you to square off and to be scared. Because your instinctual habit is to fight or flight, to run or to chase, to engage. So when something stimulates that outside of yourself and you don't understand it, and you refuse to take an observational status, you sit in the emotion and you become it, then everything that engages that emotion becomes instinctual. So what happens is that the feelings are unexplainable to you. Because part of you is trying to logically look at this and you're trying to logically explain, this can't be love because I'm losing right now. This can't be love because I feel lost. This can't be love, but I have this yearning to chase after somebody, or I have this yearning to run away. And then it reminds me, well, fear is as powerful of an adversary, of a foe, as some of the things that you'll face in life that are physical. What if it took on a real form? What if fear took on a space that it actually had this identity? It has a face. The face of anger is the face you see when you're looking and you feel anger within you. It consumes you. It encapsulates you. It creates its vision and its visceral experience through your physical form. It pushes your consciousness just a little bit outside of the body and takes over ownership. Kind of like a backseat driver when you're on a vacation and they're like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? So you become a backseat driver and fear sits behind the wheel and starts to move forward. Or anger, or desire. And you really lose control in a lot of ways. So think of it like this. There's a couple ways to gain mobility, to move through emotions that you feel are triggering you or are creating separation. And even happiness can create separation because happiness can provoke fear. The idea of happiness can make you take on things that logically are not looking good for you. So I think that it's always with a little bit of a grain of salt, with a little bit of observation. This is the gift that we were given as a little bit higher level of consciousness from the animal kingdom. And most of the time we're not accessing it nor using it. One of the first factors in addressing feelings or emotions as they engage, as I've stated, awareness. Think of it like if somebody was practicing with archery. If you're practicing for pleasure and you hit the center mark, your confidence is through the roof. You know you can do it. But then throw in a bet. Hey, I'll bet you your car that you can't hit that bullseye 5 times. Now suddenly, emotion steps in. You're scared because if you miss, you lose. So what we've got is fight or flight, and fear is taking part of your form. Now you're not just looking forward from confidence any longer because the stakes have changed. This is an awareness factor, knowing what's at stake. Where are you? What's going on in your life? I call it practice for pleasure versus performance for a price. Then we want to go into the ability to respond. Response is something about self-expression. How do you respond? How do you sit back into the space? How do you occupy this physical form and to remove it from the entity that has stepped in, almost in a state of possession? Then you go to the reset. And neurolinguistic practitioners talk about this a little bit. They call it a little bit of a 180, a flip the switch. So you flip the script. You go into a reset self, a self-care self. And think of it in some ways. Motion eases emotion. Let me say that again so you got it. Motion eases emotion. So emotion is released through motion. And I'm not talking about the motion of the ocean. If you see the trailer rocking, don't come a knocking. I'm not talking about that kind of stuff. I'm talking about emotion, not rocking the ocean. Just for the record. Sidebar, sidetracked. Too much. TMI. Okay, so motion releases emotion. This is where I myself do a dance. I mean, that's why I love 80s parties. That's why I used to go dance by myself, not because I was a nerd, not because I was a geek, but because I love to really get into release emotion. Go for a run. Go for some hot yoga. Go for a walk. Do some stretching. Hit the punching bag. Release and allow that emotion to find a conduit out. Think of it like, it's like if you have a glass and you pour dirty water in it. Well, if you leave the dirty water in the glass, it's going to stay dirty water. You have to use the motion and pour it out, right? Then rinse it and shake it and then fill it up with clean. So we need to escalate and to remove this emotion that's happening in a negative way through motion. Then think of it like this. I feel ... I feel angry because I choose to feel this way. I feel happiness because I choose to feel this way. The power of choice is very important. It's like what you voice. When you have a feeling and you don't say it and you sit on it, it doesn't go away. It stays and stacks, and it begins to stack and stack and stack until it explodes. Then you say something because motion moves emotion. So if you wait until the emotion moves itself, then we have a situation. Then we have an explosion. So think of it like that. So I feel angry because I choose to feel this way. I feel depressed because I choose to feel this way. When you engage that, then now what you're telling your physical form, I'm making this choice and I don't want to be this way. And then you can use positivity and affirmations to move through it. Also, good solid affirmations and like a gratitude meditation can help you as well. So 4 key things that will help you to really help yourself. Number 1, write it out. Write a letter to your love. Write a letter to anger. Write a letter. Hey, fear, fuck off. I don't want you to around my life. Hey, fear, blah, 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 blah. Write it out. Do a journal. Write a letter. Rip it up. Burn it. Whatever it is. Just don't write that email and send it to somebody that you don't want anything. You don't want them to know what you're saying. Don't do that by accident. It will go wrong. Sound. Get a growl. Get a yell. Scream. Sing. Whatever it is. Sound helps to move. If you can't move your physical body due to some kind of disability or something going on, growl it out. Use the F word. I do an F mantra as well. F that, F this. I do. I know it sounds crazy, but when you're really angry, sometimes it really helps. And then move. As we said, motion releases emotion. And then talk it out. Talk to this entity. Escalate this conversation. Sit down and say, hey, fear, I feel what you're saying, but it doesn't make any sense. And take the observational status. All this comes from a heightened state of awareness. And this may not be for you right now. You might want to come back to this in a few weeks once you've started to become more aware of awakening, but it will. And if you know that if somebody needs this, feel free to pass it forward. So again, honest self-understanding liberates us from our stuck emotions, right? See Terry Warner. If you enjoyed this video, if you want to see more of these videos, leave a comment down below, click that like button, subscribe, and the bell beside it so you get notifications so you know when I'm online. And I would love, 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 love your support on my podcast. It is beautiful. It's amazing. I love podcasting. Actually, for me, I have to sit down and become aware of my insecurity. I'm a little insecure to be on camera, so I deal with it the same way. Going through this list, I'm growling it out, getting past that, using my EFT, using my Reiki, getting ready so that I don't recoil back into that insecurity because it doesn't make sense. It's erroneous. And I push that entity out. So we're all dealing with different levels of fear or frustration, and even love can take on an obsessive quality. An obsession is an emotion, right? So stay tuned for more information. Peace, light, and love. Namaste your way, and I will see you soon.